Thank you so much for joining us here on the Market Day Report. I'm Harlan Bowling with you on a Monday as we get our ag trade off and running on our futures markets. In fact, we can take a quick peek here and see how they're opening up. Let's go to the corn board right now and see what it's showing. On the corn futures directly from Chicago with our live quotes here, we currently have that corn market. Well, if it appears, here it comes. The corn March is now down 1.5 pennies at 3.73 even. So just slight pressure showing up in the corn so far. The May contract down 1.25 pennies at 3.80 3/4. A look at our soybean trade. We'll see how we're opening up there. Currently March down 5.5, a little more pressure here. 10.53.5 per bushel. The May down 5.5 cents. September down 4 3/4. On the wheat in Chicago, we have the March contract down a couple of pennies at 4.47 even. And in Kansas City, here we have the March wheat down 1 3/4 at 4.58 3/4. I do want to jump to the U.S. dollar, and I want to bring in our analyst here, Dewey Strickler. He's with AgWatch Market Advisors. And Dewey, we're having a little bit of firmness in the U.S. dollar, but I'm also hearing we have a big jump here in the value of the Dow on the open this morning. Looks like it's opening up roughly over 100 points higher in the early going this morning. What's going on driving the financial markets, and is that affecting our ag trade in any way today?
Well, it's not affecting our ag trade here by any means, but what we've got going on here, Marlon, we've had for the past, ever since the inauguration, we've had a lot of euphoria in the market that the economy is going to improve and so forth, and that still continues. We're looking at the stock market up over 100 points as we speak right now, and I've said for some time I think that the Dow will go up to about 22,000, maybe 24,000. And I would look for a major top to come in May, probably no later than September. Then I think it's going to be all downhill and the good times will be over.
So what do you base that on? Just jobs data, or what do you base it on?
No, I'm just basing it on the fact that, we've had for several years, we've been seeing the stock market going up, because of the trickle-down effect and so forth. In other words, zero interest rates pretty much has given these major institutions free money, and they're still using it.
Okay, so now we have a little weakness in the corn. We have an overnight sale reported by USDA here of 101,600 tons of corn to unknown destinations. Did not seem to be able to prop up the market at all today. However, on the charts, the corn market has been looking pretty good after Friday's close. So what does that do to our technical picture here on the corn right now?
Well, we're down today, and that's about all you can say about it, Marlon. I look at Monday and the grains pretty much as like a tip-off in the basketball game. Monday, you're just going to spend most of the time to see who's willing to defend their longs or who's willing to defend their shorts, and that looks like that's what we're looking at here today. Trend is still up in corn, and we do have the funds are still a little bit, actually, they are got a little bit of a long position. They flipped from a short position. They're long about 105 million. So they may decide to defend that a little bit.
And what are you hearing about the harvest progress in Brazil right now on their soybean crop?
Right now, they're about 18% done. Average is 11.
It is. Okay, so a little ahead of schedule there. And from what I understand, Dewey, the second crop of corn in Brazil, the Safrinha crop, I understand that's going in with no problem so far, huh?
Yeah, the weather's been pretty good, and it looks like it's going to remain that way. We might have a scattered shower here and there in South America, but don't expect to see any delays either in soybean harvest or in the Safrinha corn planting. All
right, Dewey, we're going to pause right there, and we're going to come back in a moment and talk about the livestock trade, getting mixed signals out of the livestock markets here recently. We'll examine that closely when we come back with Dewey Strickler right after this. Well, we're back with our very special guest. It's Dewey Strickler of AgWatch Market Advisors in Franklin, Kentucky. Dewey, on the livestock close on Friday, it kind of threw a curve to a lot of traders there. We had the cattle market posting what you would call an outside down day on the April live cattle. Let's see how they're opening up here today, if they're following through with weakness or not. So if we can pull up the live cattle futures here, it sounds like things are fairly quiet here in the early going today. We have the February live cattle down 55 again. The April contract I was talking about is now at 112.50. That's down 65 cents on the day. We have June live cattle down 68 at 103.60. That February contract of 115.85. Dewey, I noted where the cash cattle trade last Friday was established at 118 to 120. So they're getting even further away from that right now. We have, a couple of weeks left here before somewhere along the line they kind of need to bring those two together, don't they?
Well, they do need to bring them together, but if your viewers have a moment and look on the charts, especially on the April and even the June contracts here in cattle, if you look at today, guess what we're seeing? We're seeing a lower high and lower low. That's going to catch the attention of the funds, and currently they do have pretty much a long position on, so I would expect they're going to start to come out of that.
Okay, let's take a look at our feeder cattle trade. Now, on the feeders, here we closed everything over $1 lower on Friday. Right now, we're seeing some follow-through selling in the early going today. Currently, March feeder cattle down 30 cents. We're trading at 121.78 per hundredweight. And the April contract at 122.10 would be down 35 cents on the day. The May contract down 55. Is there anything affecting the feeders where it would not be impacting the live cattle, or are they pretty well tied at the hip today?
I think they're pretty much tied at the hip today. The feeders, they fell to 120.5 on the March contract. Looks like they're just trying to get a little bit of recovery going, but don't know that it's going to go very far.
Okay, now if we take a look at our lean hog market as well, of course, that's the one I mentioned that it closed with small gains. I think we were like 30 cents higher on Friday. But right now, it's fairly timid here. February up just 13 cents at 74.68. The April lean hog's now 30 higher once again at 71.38. That does happen to be on the high of the opening here this morning on a Monday. The May contract down a couple of pennies at 75.38. It looks like that's the only trade today because that's the high and the low so far. So it looks like volume must be very thin in the early going here on the hogs, Dewey.
Yeah, it looks like it is. The hog market here, when I look at the shorter term pattern, Marlin, it looks like we got maybe one more high to maybe muster out here just a little bit above the high at 72.65. You may not go much more than about 73, and then I look for a pretty hard sell-off in the hogs.
Now, Dewey, you and I had talked, I believe last time you were on, about a new kind of a feature that you have to offer. It's kind of educational. It's kind of a tutoring system, I guess, if you will, for customers and clients that might want to learn more about the markets. I believe you call it AgWatch University?
That's exactly right. I teach an individual on a one-on-one mentorship to how to be his own market consultant. In other words, we teach producers how to take the guesswork out of marketing so they can do a better job of marketing themselves. And
how do we find out more information about that then?
A couple of ways you can do that. You can go to agwatch.biz, that's spelled B-I-Z, and you can scroll over, look at AgWatch Grain Market University, or you can call me direct, 270-586-9051, or email me at agwatchdls@comcast.net, and we can get together and discuss what the program is like.
Sounds awesome. Thanks, Dewey. I appreciate it. Dewey Strickler with AgWatch Market Advisors in Franklin, Kentucky. The livestock trade a little bit on the sleepy side on a Monday.
I think a lot of us are still on the sleepy side on a Monday.